The mood around Ibrox has been tense, expectations through the roof, and criticism mounting week after week. But now, the Rangers faithful have a new face to pin their hopes on. Danny Rowe has officially taken charge as the club's new manager, and from the very first words he spoke, it's clear, this is not a man coming in to just steady the ship. This is a coach arriving with a plan, with personality, and with a burning ambition to bring Rangers back to where they believe they belong, at the top. The German coach has already started making waves, not just because of his impressive CV or his tactical reputation growing rapidly across Europe, but because of how quickly he's embraced the identity and demands of Rangers Football Club. In his first message to the supporters, Danny didn't hide. He didn't sugarcoat the situation. He faced it head-on, acknowledging the rough start to the season, recognizing the frustrations in the stands, and more importantly, accepting the weight of expectation that comes with wearing the badge and stepping onto the pitch at Ibrox. He said it himself, there's no time to waste. And that's exactly what fans wanted to hear. Because after months of uncertainty, failed negotiations, public protests, and a squad seemingly unsure of its direction, Rangers now have someone at the helm who speaks with clarity and purpose. Danny Rowe didn't just talk about winning. He talked about restoring pride, about putting in the work, about building a team that reflects the club's deepest traditions, unity, resilience, and that relentless drive for success. Make no mistake, Rowe's arrival didn't come easy. The board had been under fire, especially after high-profile names like Steven Gerrard and Kevin Muscat turned down approaches. Supporters had grown restless, and the home draw against Dundee United only poured fuel on the fire. Banners were raised, messages were loud, and emotions ran high. Patrick Stewart and sporting director Kevin Thelwell were under intense pressure to deliver, and fast. But now, with Rowe signed on a 2.5-year deal, there's a sense that perhaps the club finally got it right. Andrew Kavanagh has made it clear that Danny wasn't just chosen because of his resume, but because of his mindset, his ability to thrive under pressure, his tactical vision, and his willingness to throw himself fully into the job, knowing full well what's expected in Glasgow. Danny Rowe isn't just talking the talk. He's already setting the tone. His first match in charge will be in a European clash against Brann, and there won't be much room for error. The fans want to see immediate changes. They want to feel something different. And Rowe seems ready to deliver. He's fully aware that trust won't be given for free. It has to be earned. From the very first whistle, every decision, every substitution, every result will be analyzed. But he's not shying away. He's leaning into it. The German coach, only 36 years old, is walking into a high-pressure job, but one that can define his career in the best possible way. His statements so far have been firm but respectful. He knows the legacy of Rangers. He understands what this club means to the supporters. And he's not just here to survive the pressure. He's here to use it as fuel. Now, beyond the headlines and the official statements, there's also been plenty of drama behind the scenes. Former manager Russell Martin's time at the club came to a rather abrupt and unsurprising end, at least according to those closest to the dressing room. One of them, Jeff Day, hasn't held back in reflecting on what went wrong. The young Brazilian fullback, now back in his homeland playing for Palmeiras, was quick to point out that Martin's footballing philosophy just didn't match the strengths of the squad he inherited. According to Jeff, the system Martin wanted to implement was based heavily on possession, risk-taking, and technical build-up. But Rangers, especially in recent years, have been a team that thrives on power, directness, and efficiency. The mismatch was evident early on, and while Jeff kept his professionalism throughout, it was clear to him that the tactical direction was doomed from the start. His own experience under Martin was telling. Despite being a promising right back, he found himself sidelined in favor of Max Aarons being moved out of position to the left. That decision, among others, made it obvious that he wasn't part of the long-term plans. And when the offer from Palmeiras came, Jeff made his move without hesitation. But even in departure, he held no grudges. In fact, Jeff praised Rangers for the growth he experienced during his time in Scotland. He admitted that while things didn't go according to plan, the exposure to a different kind of football, the pressure of playing for a club with such passionate support, and the challenges of adapting to new tactics helped him mature. Still, he couldn't ignore what many in the stands were already feeling, that Martin's vision didn't align with the DNA of Rangers Football Club. And that's exactly what makes Danny Rowe's arrival so intriguing. Because unlike Martin, Rowe has already shown that he's willing to mold his football around the club's traditions rather than the other way around. He's not coming in with a rigid system he plans to force upon the players. He's coming in with structure, yes, but also with an open mind. And perhaps that's the key difference. He knows that in Glasgow, passion comes first. The fans demand heart, effort, and above all, results. They don't want excuses. They want to see their team fight for every ball, dominate at home, and compete fearlessly in Europe. Rowe seems to understand that. He spoke about high standards, not just in training, but in the way the players carry themselves, in the way they respond to adversity, in the way they represent the badge. From the boardroom to the pitch, there's now a renewed sense of urgency. Rowe's comments weren't just empty words. They were a clear indication that this is a new chapter, one that starts with accountability. He said the team has no time to waste, and you get the feeling he's already working behind the scenes, analyzing every detail, preparing for that first game against Brann like a man on a mission. And it's not just the fans who are hoping he succeeds. The club's leadership, under pressure for months, will be desperately hoping that this appointment puts them back in the good graces of the supporters. Because if this doesn't work, questions will come fast. But for now, there's cautious optimism. Rowe brings a fresh energy, a new voice, and most importantly, an understanding that this job is more than just about tactics. It's about leading a team that makes supporters believe again. From day one, Danny Rowe has shown that he's ready to embrace the chaos, face the critics, and demand more from everyone around him. He respects the magnitude of the task, but also seems to relish it. And that's exactly the kind of attitude Rangers need right now. The fans have waited long enough. They're tired of half measures and false dawns. They want a team that reflects the fire in the stands. And in Danny Rowe, maybe, just maybe, they've found the man who can bring that fire back to the pitch. As Danny Rowe prepares for his first game in charge, the anticipation is massive, not just for the result itself, but for the signs of change that fans have been craving. Supporters don't expect miracles overnight, but what they absolutely demand is identity, fight, direction. For far too long, this team has felt like it's been drifting. Different managers, different systems, confusion over roles, and a disconnect between the pitch and the passion in the stands. Rowe's biggest challenge might not even be tactical, it's emotional. It's about bringing back the connection, making supporters feel like their team is once again a reflection of them. And the timing couldn't be more delicate. The club's Europa League clash against SK Brann comes at a moment when confidence is fragile, but the opportunity is enormous. European nights at Rangers carry a different kind of weight. It's not just about progression, it's about pride. And for a new manager, there's perhaps no better platform to send a statement than under the lights, on a Thursday, with the eyes of Europe watching. Behind the scenes, Rowe has reportedly already begun to shake things up. Training sessions have been described as more intense, more structured, and more focused on positional discipline. Players are being challenged to take ownership, not just to follow instructions, but to understand them, to apply them in real time, and to play with purpose. Rowe knows that Rangers can't afford passengers. He wants leaders on the pitch, players who demand more from themselves and from each other. That mindset, that refusal to accept mediocrity, could be the very thing that turns this season around. One of the most interesting aspects of Rowe's early approach is his focus on balance. In recent months, Rangers have struggled with shape, sometimes too conservative, other times far too open. Under Martin, the emphasis on possession often left the back line exposed and the midfield disconnected. Rowe, on the other hand, seems determined to build from a solid foundation. Control the middle of the park, protect the defense, and then allow creativity to flourish in the final third. It sounds simple, but for a team that's lacked clarity, that kind of structure could be a game changer. Players like Todd Cantwell, Nico Raskin, and Danilo could thrive under this new setup. These are individuals with talent, but who've too often looked isolated or unsure of their role in recent months. Rowe's system promises clarity, each player knowing their job, their zone, their responsibility. And when roles are defined, quality tends to shine through. The challenge now is consistency, getting this squad to not only understand the ideas, but to execute them under pressure, in hostile environments, and when results are on the line. Off the pitch, Rowe's impact is also being felt. His communication has been calm, precise, and intentional. No fluff, no grandstanding, just straight to the point. That alone is refreshing for a fan base that's grown tired of empty sound bites. When he says the expectations are high and that he loves that pressure, you believe him. There's conviction in his tone, not arrogance, but belief. He doesn't come across as someone who's trying to impress. He comes across as someone who knows exactly what he's here to do. That kind of clarity is vital in a dressing room that's dealt with turbulence. Players can sense when a manager is unsure, when instructions are unclear, and when plans change from game to game. Rowe's challenge will be to establish trust quickly with the veterans, with the younger players, and with the supporters who have seen too many false starts. Every press conference, every post-match interview, every team selection will be under the microscope. But Rowe appears to welcome that kind of scrutiny. He's not asking for patience. He's asking for a chance to prove what he can do, and that difference in approach might be exactly what Rangers needed. Meanwhile, the noise surrounding the boardroom hasn't disappeared entirely. While Rowe's appointment has calmed things temporarily, there's still frustration among sections of the support about how the managerial search played out. The failed pursuits of Gerrard and Muscat weren't just disappointments. They were public missteps that exposed some of the internal disorganization at the top of the club. Supporters want to believe in the direction of the board, but faith is something that needs to be rebuilt. And Rowe's success, or failure, could define the current leadership's legacy. That's why this moment feels so important. Not just for this season, not just for European qualification, but for the identity of the club moving forward. With Celtic continuing to set the pace domestically, Rangers need to respond, not just on the scoreboard, but in the way they present themselves week in, week out. Every game is now an audition, every 90 minutes a chance to show that this club is evolving, improving, and heading back to where it wants to be. Even Jeff Day's recent comments speak to the wider problems that have plagued the squad. His reflections weren't bitter, they were honest. He didn't slam Martin or the club, but he made it clear that something wasn't right. The tactics didn't fit, the roles weren't clear, and players were left out of position or benched without a real sense of purpose. That kind of disarray trickles down. It affects morale, performance, and ultimately results. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications to get all the exclusive news about Rangers FC. Don't overlook any details about your beloved team. It's crucial for Rangers FC fans. Rangers fans, hold on to your hats, because it looks like the club is on the verge of turning heads once again in the transfer market. Rumors have been swirling all week, but sources close to Ibrox claim that rising championship sensation Harley Mills has agreed terms with the Light Blues, sparking wild speculation about what could be one of the most exciting attacking partnerships in recent memory. Mills, who's been tearing it up down the flanks in the English Championship, has been on the radar of several Premier League outfits, but it seems the lure of Champions League football and the chance to wear the famous blue jersey proved irresistible. What's catching the eye even more than the signing itself is the prospect of him linking up with RIDVAN, whose pace and trickery have already earned him cult hero status among the Gers faithful. Insiders are hinting at a combination that could be absolutely electrifying. A left-right dynamo tearing apart defenses with blistering speed and precise delivery. It's the kind of chatter that gets supporters buzzing, with fans on social media already dreaming of weekend fixtures dominated by Mills' marauding runs and RIDVAN's deft finishes. Some pundits are cautiously optimistic, warning that young talents often need time to adapt to Scottish football's physicality, but the general mood around Ibrox is one of anticipation. If the duo clicks, Rangers could suddenly have a genuine threat on both flanks, adding a new dimension to their attack that has often relied on central creativity. Behind the scenes, club officials are said to be quietly confident that the deal will be officially announced in the coming days, and insiders hint that this could just be the first of a few surprises before the transfer window slams shut. For now, fans are left to speculate, fantasize, and wonder how many goals this new partnership might produce. One thing's for sure, the rumor mill at Ibrox has rarely been this active, and if it proves true, Harley Mills and RIDVAN might just become the duo that sets Scottish football alight this season. Greetings, fans. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, as it's greatly appreciated by Rangers FC. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments section below. Until the next video, stay tuned.